We have breaking news. Reporters have been asked to leave the White House. We want to go back to our Caitlin Collins, who's just now across the street. Caitlin, if you can, just for viewers who are joining us at the top of the hour, explain what's been happening the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, so Anderson, we're standing in front of Lafayette Square. That's, of course, in front of the White House. And here, just about maybe a half hour ago, protesters put ropes around a statue of Andrew Jackson in the park. They were trying to topple that statue. And then very quickly, you saw police try to move those protesters back. They were using some kind of chemical irritant. We're not exactly sure what. And now they have been pushed back. The park is closed. And we are back here standing, of course, exactly where you saw the president do that walk where he came and posed in front of St. John's Church not so long ago. And they pushed protesters back, and now protesters are somewhat facing off with the police. You can see they are literally face to face with several officers who are standing here behind their bikes. After that happened just a few moments ago, they were chanting things like, "Hey ho, Andrew Jackson's got to go," several things like that. And the reason I'm out here was, of course, we were inside the White House, and Secret Service officers came around to the reporters and said that we had to leave the White House grounds. Now, someone listening at home may not think that's that unusual, but it actually is incredibly unusual. And I don't think we've ever been asked to actually physically leave the White House at a time like that. But instead, officers are coming around telling reporters they had to get off the White House grounds at that moment, though it's not clear why, because, of course, if you're even looking at Lafayette Square, the Andrew Jackson statue is probably a good 100 yards back from the White House. So it's not totally clear why. We're reaching out to Secret Service to try to get some kind of explanation for why the White House reporters had to leave. But what we are seeing now is these protesters clash with police here again in front of the White House, this time over that Andrew Jackson statue that is in Lafayette Park.
So there are still protesters there. Obviously, we can hear people talking. Those are people in front of you, I assume, or around you. You're by the old church, which is where the president had gone several weeks ago.
Yeah. You can see, Anderson, it's getting emotional. These are people talking to the police officers that we've been standing here. It's probably about 150, 200 protesters here in front of the White House if I had to just do a count from where I'm standing.
And Caitlin, the Lafayette Park, is that policed by D.C. police or is that federal?
These are Metropolitan Police right here, just an MPD standing here. And it's interesting because, you know, if you're familiar with how in front of the White House works, it is very certain swaths of officers that are in charge of parts of it. Some of them are federal officers, like you saw the National Guard standing in that park not so long ago. But I believe when you hit here where we are sitting right now, it is Metropolitan Police. And that is who's standing here on these bikes. But of course, if you look back, you see park police in the actual park. I'll see if Albert can get up here. You see them in the white shirts with the blue hats. Those are the park police back there. Those are the ones who cleared the protesters out so aggressively when the president came over to make his walk in front of St. John's Church, using rubber bullets, using those pepper balls, those projectiles, of course, that they were using. And so the question is here, you know, we saw some people, they had gotten some kind of chemical irritant on them as they were being pushed back to here. For now, you're just seeing the protesters chanting and standing in front of these officers, and a lot of the officers are just standing here. So it's not clear if they were just moving them back to this line or where that's going to go from here. But this was the first time, I believe, since everything that's been going on in the aftermath of George Floyd's death, as you've seen those statues and those monuments come down across the country, that we've seen someone actually try to take one down in front of the White House. That Andrew Jackson statue, of course, where he is on top of a horse right in front of the White House in Lafayette Square.
And how long were people trying to remove that statue from? Because the images were from earlier. Do you know how long that process was continuing before they were cleared out? Because it looks like they had gotten ropes around the statue.
Yeah, it was long enough for them to get those ropes around the statue, but it doesn't seem clear if they made any progress with that before they were pushed back by the officers in the area. It's not really clear how quickly that materialized, but it was pretty quickly that then the White House was telling reporters they actually had to leave the grounds. And I've got to stress, that is so rare. I don't think that it's ever happened at least not since I've been covering the White House, where reporters have been asked to leave the grounds. Typically, if there's a security threat, someone jumps a barricade, there's a suspicious package, they just tell reporters to get off the lawn and go inside, and they'll lock the doors. They don't normally ask you to actually leave the grounds. So we're still trying to get explanation from Secret Service, from Park Police, on why that was the move that they made, given it's not a massive crowd here. It's probably fewer than 200 people.
Okay. Caitlin Collins, appreciate it. Thank you very much. We're going to keep coming back to you as the situation warrants.